Alright guys, this is the news laid on the TV. Sky News understands 4 teenagers have been stabbed in London, wherever that place is. 7 people. And I was going to say 7 people when I go past the woman on here. So it's basically 7 people as well. So I don't know what's going on with all this stabbing in London. As I showed you a bit of the clip there, I had to pause it very quickly to explain what's going on. I mean, I don't know what's going on either, but I like to talk about the news and general stuff. I don't know if that'll come back up again, what I've just shown you, because there's always different news on the TV, and it's a shame that you hear your loved ones getting stabbed or killed or shot around the world. It's not a nice thing. But I don't know if that'll come back on again, and we can see what percentage has happened, and how many have actually, like I say, I think it's like 4 teenagers that have got stabbed. It's ridiculous. This world's getting very, very worse. Not just because of the coronavirus, and we're not talking about Brexit anymore, but what is going on with the people in the world, man? I mean, not everybody makes it bad in the world. Some people do, some people don't. But if it comes up, I'm just going to see if that message comes up again, and I can show you that it's not fake news. It's real news, what's been shown on the TV, because it has to be real news. Some people beg to differ, but that's their opinion. It's like waiting for paint to dry, to be honest. As you can see here, what I'm waiting for on the news channel here, it's just going through all the stuff again on the bar, if people have not seen it yet. We're talking about Boris Johnson delaying pause coronavirus, as we all know. But still talking about a virus outbreak, which we all know. Nothing new. And patients and tested positive, and they're talking about that too. Just saying the same message over and over again on the TV. Talking about medical office was walled, DR pranked, stay for more people tested positive with coronavirus, 19 cases. That's all they're talking about at the minute. It's probably going to annoy some people about this situation about talking about corona all the time, because we've not heard it all before, Announced shops are being closed across the countries apart from food shortages and climate. Virus Outbreak Bank of England says has cut many interests ratings to of 25% from 0.75 responding coronavirus. Just read what's on the TV. Virus Break Irish Stunt has said the first baggage of the Prime Minister Boris Johnson government. So I'm reading it to you instead of showing you the screen. I mean, that's what they're talking about mainly on the news. They're downing every can keep the country and people health, and finally assure the virus counsellor. Yeah, there's just so many words on this TV, I tell you. Trying to keep up with all people who can't work, and stationery also available for all those who are literally knows. Yet presented with symptoms, talking about the symptoms of corona again. Talking about the funding. I'm not making this up, as you guys can see. It's on the TV what they're speaking about there. And this guy's speaking about the news as well. Lots of people follow the news, and there's some people that probably don't. But let's see here. Floods, talking about flooding. Communities building the floods reduces investment, and flooding defences will be doubled over the next 6 years. So, just one of those things, I think, guys and girls. Scottish Government 3.6 for the Welsh Government. 200 for the Northern Ireland's exclusive wall, or well, as 242 of funding new cities and growth deals. The guy's doing this sort of thing on the TV. Building safety funds with billions of covers.
And here's the striking thing, this doesn't even include that second budget I was talking about, COVID-19. So in the coming year that we're talking about,
announcing
£17.9 billion. So let's
tax
actually
will
break
be
that down, look beneath the surface and see what that accounts for. So £17.9 billion going out of the Treasury, some money coming in, that's
Women's
what EU budget contribution,
production.
That in anymore. You've got the corporation
Labour
tax,
leader Jeremy Corbyn,
again, effectively money
said
and then
Councillor
extra spending
Irish.
The NHS police officers, you've got levelling up over here, you've got that increase in the personal allowance for national insurance, that was in the manifesto, that goes in there. And then on top of that, that's the formal budget. On top of it, you have this second budget, £12 billion on coronavirus. This isn't even costed in the main
Harvey spokesman
it's a lot of money.
Says
it was an emergency move,
the film production has been sent to Believe Hospital in New York because
was expected to come down.
was
the
experienced
but what's happened today is
chest
really
pains.
These
He was
bars
sentenced
show you
to
how
23
much
years
borrowing is going to be
for
in the next few years. It's basically double what the deficit was going to be in the final years of the forecast horizon.
Sky News understood that the teenagers has been stabbed in
do not include the
London.
COVID-19
7 people have been
that bar to go up a fair
detonated in connection with the connected.
From the Bank of England a little bit earlier on in the day, the Bank of England cut interest rates. Remember, back in the financial crisis or just before it, they were up about 4.5%.
Weekly debates
then they went down to 0.5%.
available.
The expectation
News
was they were
catch
going to
up
come up
Sky
when Mark came into office, but instead,
for the Sky
his
News
final
more
move
and
as governor is to cut them down to 0.25%. The joint lowest they have ever been in history. A dramatic move from the bank. A dramatic day for the Treasury as well, pumping lots of money into the economy to try to fight the threat of this virus.
I don't even know if we're living in a war or heading for a war in the UK, to be honest.
The Organization officially declared the coronavirus outbreak a pandemic. The Dow Jones Industrial Average went into bear market territory, dropping 1,464 points and followed another steep decline in the Asian markets. The Chancellor's attempt to bolster business in the fight against the virus was firmly targeted at smaller firms. Many of them will enjoy a holiday from business rates, as well as cash grants and potential loans. And the response from traders, our business correspondent Paul Kelso spoke to, any help is useful.
The markets are always watching on budget day, but they had particular reason to pay attention at Birmingham wholesale market.
6 kilo 90.
Coronavirus threatens to deliver a profound economic shock, and traders here supplying fresh produce to shops.
Talking about food and stuff, market stuff.
First tremors.
If the country faces total lockdown, as has happened in Italy, obviously, who are you going to sell to if nobody's allowed in market or if nobody's allowed in shops?
It's like we're going into a war, guys. Some people could say we're never going to go into the war. Look at Italy. They've got locked down. It's like they're in a war. Is the UK going to go the same way and lock down?
God help us. So there will be no tomatoes, no cucumbers, no Spanish onion, nothing.
They'd already been open for 4 hours by the time the Bank of England cut interest rates. Of limited impact here, though they weren't complaining.
Any help in terms of lowering costs is useful because these kind of businesses.
So we don't want his food shortages instead of the toilet rolls being shorted.
Is what really counts for small businesses that may have to trade through profoundly uncertain times.
Coronavirus has already affected supply. This box of red peppers costs £4 more this week than it did last because you can no longer get them from Italy. Demand is likely to be hit even harder as we are told to stay at home to control the virus.
There was no extra tax on beer in this budget, but the bigger question for the Attic Brew Company is whether anyone will be able to come out and drink it in the coming weeks. So there was a round of measures to help companies stay afloat, including waiving business rates, direct grants worth £3,000, government guaranteeing bank loans for affected companies, and refunding statutory sick pay.
If we do see any drop-off in our business, it's a nice safety blanket to have to fall back on. We just had some good stuff that will sort of help us as a business and help us to weather the storm if one comes.
The Chancellor expects consumer spending to dry up in the coming weeks, so these measures will have to work, and fast.
We've just finished surveying our members, and just under a third said they're already affected by coronavirus and expect to things get even worse in the next couple of weeks. So really, we need to ensure that the government moves quickly and acts now to help as many businesses as possible.
The real test of this budget may not be whether business thrives, but how many survive. Paul Kelso, Sky News in Birmingham.
The Italian Prime Minister has ordered the closure of all shops except for pharmacies and those selling food as his country struggles to deal with COVID-19. His announcement came as the man responsible for coordinating intensive care in one of the worst affected regions, Lombardy, told us the strain on hospitals there was like a bomb had exploded. Sky's Sally Lockwood reports from Rome.
There you go, Italy.
Police outnumber the public on the streets of Rome. At checkpoints, anyone passing needs a permit and a reason why. Enforcement appears calm and compliant, but this is only day 2 of at least 24, and the cracks are appearing already. My sister is dead in her bed, says Gomorrah actor Luca Francesi, posting this video with his sister's body behind him after she reportedly died of COVID-19. More than 24 hours after her death, he claims he's had no help from authorities. This queue for a supermarket show Italians are taking the lockdown rules seriously. Now a 1-metre separation in public spaces. Keeping people apart is an essential measure to save lives and precious hospital space. The director of intensive care for Lombardy, the worst hit region, describes the pressure.
It's like a bomb that exploded, like all of a sudden you are like really submerged of patients. So it's like a tsunami that comes.
And knowing what you know now, what would be your message to other countries, other healthcare systems?
Get ready, because when it starts, then it's again like an explosion.
The Prime Minister today announced a €25 billion fund to spend on this crisis, but it's already costing the country hugely. Rome's Trevi Fountain is one of Italy's most famous sites, now virtually deserted. Anyone passing checked for a permit.
And the government isn't ruling out even tougher measures than this. At the moment, people even simply stopping in the street are made to move on. Businesses like restaurants and cafes are allowed to open until 6 p.m, but they could be closed altogether along with public transport. This is simply the beginning of how limited life could get.
The head of the country's emergency planning admits Italy acted too late.
These measures, they come slowly because all the country have to be somehow brought to this kind of measures.
Is the lockdown going to be extended?
The lockdown will stay as long as it is necessary.
One of the first red zones to be locked down is showing promise in containing the virus spread. But as numbers surge across the country, there's a fear this lockdown could get tougher and longer. Sally Lockwood, Rome.
And a reminder that from 12:30 today, we'll have a live daily Q&A on the outbreak with a panel of experts to answer your questions. And then at 6 o'clock, Mark Austin will have an hour-long special programme, Virus Outbreak, Global Emergency. In other news now, 3 people have been killed, including 2 Americans, at a military base in Iraq. Officials say a barrage of small rockets fired at the base, injuring 12 service members. The Ministry of Defence says it's investigating an incident involving UK service personnel. The Scottish Criminal Cases Review Commission has found a miscarriage of justice may have occurred in the conviction of Abdelbaset al-Megrahi for the Lockerbie bombing, paving the way for a new appeal. The Libyan intelligence officer was the only person convicted of the attack on Pan Am Flight 103, which was blown up over the Scottish town of Lockerbie in 1988, killing all 243 passengers and 16 crew. Megrahi died 8 years ago. Sky News understands that 4 teenagers have been stabbed in Walthamstow in East London. 7 people have been detained and road closures have been put in place. The incident is not being treated as terror-related. His lawyer called the sentence obscene and cowardly. His victims called it vindication. Harvey Weinstein will serve what's effectively a life sentence, 23 years behind bars for rape and sexual assault. The disgraced Hollywood producer's crimes inspired the Me Too campaign, and yesterday he told the court he felt sorry for other men accused. The spokesperson for Weinstein says he's now been taken to hospital with chest pains. Our US correspondent Amanda Walker reports from New York.
Rosie, how you feeling? What do you think?
This was more than his victims had probably dared hope for. 23 years means Harvey Weinstein could feasibly spend the rest of his life behind bars. It's a huge moment for his accusers and the wider Me Too movement.
This is a new day. It's a new day for women to know that if you have courage, there will be consequences for the predators who hurt you. So for the predators who are going to wake up in fear tomorrow and say, are they coming after me next? My answer is probably yes.
Weinstein's defense team had asked for the minimum 5-year sentence because of what they call their client's remarkable accomplishments.
I think that number is a cowardly number to give. I think the judge caved, just as I believe the jury caved. I think it was very clear that nothing we did or said today was going to make a difference. I think it shows exactly what has been shown from the beginning with Judge Burke. Judge Burke was already prepared to say and do exactly what he was going to say and do, no matter what we said today.
This is Harvey Weinstein on the day the jury found him guilty of rape and sexual assault. He now faces separate sexual assault charges in Los Angeles. The demise of the movie mogul who Meryl Streep once called God has been public and humiliating.
For the first time, Harvey Weinstein spoke inside court. He made no apology and showed no remorse, instead saying there are so many people who would say great things about me and that he thinks men are confused by these issues.
But the judge was in no doubt, stripping away the power Weinstein once exerted in Hollywood. His legacy now will always be that of a convicted rapist. No sentence can heal the damage Weinstein has done, but for those whose lives he ruined, this was a day of reckoning. Amanda Walker, Sky News, New York.
Now stay with us, still to come on Sky News. Paris Saint-Germain fans turn up to support their team despite coronavirus restrictions.
Well guys, I'm going to leave it there. Hope you've all enjoyed the video. Give it a like, give it a comment. Now you've found out 4 teenagers have been stabbed in London by 7 people have been arrested, connected by the stabbings. It's nothing terrorist related. So catch you in the next stream. Thank you for joining the video. Peace, and hit the notification bell. See you next one. Peace.